Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'd like to teach you how to solve surd equations. So we'll start off with the first one. The square root of 3x plus 4 is equal to x minus 2. First we need to square both sides. Right, so the reason we're squaring is so that the square root on the left hand side can fall away and we are left with 3x plus 4. Then I'm going to square the binomial x minus 2 and that gives me x squared minus 4x plus 4. Remember, we're going to square the first term, square the last term and double the product. Okay, if you forgot how to square binomials, just check one of my previous videos that I will link down in the description below. Okay, now we need to solve this quadratic equation and we're going to add the like terms. So the 4 cancels with the 4 and the 3x we can take over, and therefore negative 4x minus 3x is equal to negative 7x. Okay, now we're going to factorize by taking out x as a common factor, and we have two answers: x is equal to 0 or x is equal to 7. Okay, one of these answers will not work. If you substitute 0 back into the equation, you need to check that the left hand side is going to equal the right hand side. And for 0 it doesn't work, but for 7 it does work. Now let's move on to our second equation. Here we have 2 square root x minus 1 equal to 2x minus 3. Again, since the surd is already on its own, we can just start off by squaring both sides. Now when you square the 2 square root x, 2 squared is 4 and the square root falls away. So you are just left with x minus 1. And now you'd have to multiply the 4 inside. But let's just have a look at what happens on the right hand side. That now becomes 4x squared minus, well, 2 times 6 is 12, then we have to double that. So it's 24x plus 36. Now we're going to multiply the 4 inside. That gives me 4x minus 4. And all I now have to do is add my like terms. So let's link up the 4x with the 24x and the negative 4 with the 36. So that gives us x squared minus 28x plus 40. And then I'm going to divide everything by 4. And that should give me x squared minus 7x plus 10. 40 divided by 4 is 10. And now we're going to factorize. The factors of 10, which is 10 and 1, or 5 and 2, we're going to choose 5 and 2 because those adds to 7. So we're going to make use of those factors. X minus 5 and x minus 2. This gives us an answer of 5 or 2. X is equal to 5 or x is equal to 2. Again, we're going to have to check our answers. One of the answers will be valid and the other one will be invalid. If you substitute 5, it turns out that one is valid because the right hand side equals the left hand side. But if you substitute 2, that is invalid. So we're going to draw a line through the equal to sign like we did with the previous one. Okay, let's have a look at the third example. So question 3, we have x minus 4 times x to the power of a half minus 5 equal to 0. So here you might ask yourself, where's the square root? Let's remember that x to the power of a fraction, n over m, would be equal to the mth root of x to the power of n. That sounds weird, but I just mean that the denominator becomes the number associated with the root and the numerator becomes the exponent to the variable inside the root, which in simple terms mean that x to the power of a half is equal to the square root of x to the power of 1. So we can rewrite this equation as if it was a surd equation to begin with. So now we have x minus 4 times the square root of x minus 5, and that's equal to 0. Then I'm going to take over the negative 4 square root x, and that gives me x minus 5 for square root x. Keep in mind now that I'm isolating the surd. I'm getting the square root all on its own. At this point, I can now square both sides. So that gives me x squared minus 10x plus 25, and if we square the right hand side, we get 16x. 4 squared is 16, and the square root of x squared is x. Right, so now we're going to add our like terms again. We're going to link up the 16x with a negative 10x, and that gives us negative 26x. Okay, now this can be factorized. The factors of 25 is 25 and 1, or 5 and 5. But we're going to choose 25 and 1 because that adds up to 26. So therefore your answer is x equal to 25 or x is equal to 1. Again, let's substitute these answers back into the original equation to see which one checks out. So it turns out that 25 is the correct answer, but x equal to 1 is not. So we're just going to draw a line through 1. Always remember to check your answers for these third equations, but that's how it's done.